What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters? I'm One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Walking Dead Season 11, Episodes 17 and 18, so spoiler warning for those episodes for sure. The Walking Dead is back. October 2nd was the return of The Walking Dead, and I'm excited. It's bittersweet because it's the final 8 episodes, but I've loved the first 2 episodes. Episodes 17 and 18 are both great, and a great start to the final 8 episodes. So from the very beginning, it's action-packed. Episode 11-17 is Maggie, Daryl, taking out walkers, a battle with Lance and the Commonwealth troopers. It's just great. It's just a good start, and I hope every episode is as action-packed as 11-17 and 11-18 are. Now, I saw 17 and 18 on AMC+. On AMC, it's a week behind. 11-17 airs tonight. Negan doing the whisper skin trick. Very good. He takes the SUV and rides out, draws one of the other SUV Commonwealth troopers. Luckily, Negan wasn't hurt. It's a nice little action sequence. We haven't really seen this much, probably since Season 7, Season 8, where we had the action like that, but this was done right. Daryl taking out some Commonwealth troopers, and I have to say, the Commonwealth troopers are like stormtroopers. They're just weak. They get taken out easily. They're just like the easy things for walkers and people to get taken out. Lance was shot in the arm. Daryl gets the other SUV and drives into the SUV that was going after Negan. Maggie, Annie working together. It's good to see our group working together. Enough of the BS. Let's all work together. Take on the Commonwealth. Well, take on CRM would be amazing. Still waiting for that connection. But it's nice to see callbacks and connections. The opening credits are different. There's more to it. Also, the Judith narration. I enjoy it. Maggie, Daryl, sentimental moments back in the day when Daryl still feels bad for Negan killing Glenn. That's clearly what the reference here was with Maggie and Daryl. The Commonwealth residents are just not liking the Miltons, and they're going to rise up and revolt. Fake Stephanie and the bald guy, I don't remember the bald guy's name, Lance's people, were going after Carol and the kids, but Jerry stepped in, took them away. It was great when Jerry had his people around. He's like, hey, buy me some time. We're being followed. It's just cool to see everybody working together for a common goal. That's what we need more to see in every episode, and I think we will. Mercer and Negan, it was great. I want to see Negan interact with so many people because he has the gift of gab. He's probably the best talker on the show right now. And I love Mercer, but I'm going to question some of your tactics against the Swarm. They were pretty poor, but Daryl sent Negan to the Commonwealth to go in, meet with Mercer, to meet his people and protect his people. It was great to see Negan come in and be like, yeah, hey Carol, I probably should have stayed in the cabin, but I didn't listen to you. So he's here to help. I love this interaction with Sebastian when he goes, do you know who I am? Or don't you know who I am? He's like, don't you know who I am? And Sebastian's like, who are these people? Enough of this. I'm tired of your stuff. Just get me out of this, like my mom and my family has got me out of everything. Carol using Sebastian is very smart. Carol being Carol, she's Queen Carol, that's for sure. But Sebastian is a punk, and I'm glad he was killed in 11-18. I don't feel bad for his death because he's a punk. They're really hinting at the Mercer, like, hey, don't be part of the Commonwealth. Join us. We need your help. Work together. But when the Swarm was coming, why did you have the Jeeps drive right into them? Like, you have machine guns on the back. Use them. Keep them at your distance, like Rosita did. She was just firing rounds into the walkers, and you should have mowed them down. It's pretty crazy to think that you got so close to the walkers. The Commonwealth troopers are just terrible. It's just kind of annoying, right? Like, there's got to be little things here and there, and that's probably the only thing that was annoying in the first 2 episodes, but the ending was great. Lance getting captured by Daryl, really running into the next episode. So Season 11, Episode 17 and 18 are basically one big episode, which is great. The walker was tied up by them to distract the different Commonwealth troopers, and it worked. And I love the idea of Daryl capturing Lance, and Lance thinking he's going to get out of it. But, well, he does, but he doesn't. And Lance is going to stick around to continue to be the bad guy. Now, pick up into 11-18. It's still the showdown, and I like that we continued right on from this. But the fact that we left 11-17, it ended here, to roll right into 11-18, only to have Mercer, Pamela Milton, and Carol step in, it was pretty fast. Like, how did they know to go there? And they got there pretty quickly. But it's all right. And Daryl ain't messing around. He wanted to take out Lance. That's for sure, and I'm glad that he stabbed him. But Maggie looks on like, oh man, what are we going to do? How are we going to get out of this? Again, Carol steps up, made a deal with Pamela Milton, so they're going to put it on Lance. Sebastian did all the problems, and Lance was no choir boy himself. He did terrible things, but why not put it on Lance and get rid of Lance? But the fact that Daryl is like, I'm not just going to do this because you tell me to, is great. And I love that about Daryl, right? He's like, nah, do what you got to do, Mercer. If you got to take me out, do it. But I'm not letting this guy go. Pamela Milton is like, we need this guy alive. I got to save my son. Come on. But Daryl's not budging. It's a great sequence. It's a great start. Both episodes started great, and they ended great too. But the fact that Carol had to come in and talk Daryl down makes sense. Daryl is going to listen to Carol. They trust each other. That's what they do. So Daryl's like, okay, I'll let this guy go. I'll leave him alive for you. But Daryl doesn't want to do that, right? He's like, nah, I really don't want to be the guy just to let this guy go to bite you in the butt again, because that's what would happen. You would let Lance go and he would kill somebody because you let him live. Bam, loved it. The knife in the hand. Daryl's like, he's alive, but I'm going to maim him and get some satisfaction, right? We would all do that, or at least want to, right? And they did say that it's going to be rocking and rolling and action-packed, and the first 2 episodes really did that. I just love that scene. It's pretty great. Lance is a great villain, I have to say. He's a really good Commonwealth villain. It's different for the show. The show is the show and the comic is the comic, that's for sure, which is great. And I love the differences, that's for sure. But they take Lance away and they're going to have a trial for him or whatever. We probably won't even get to that. That doesn't happen in this episode. So we'll have to see what happens. So like I said, Daryl says he's all yours. He's alive. And then he drops the knife. So I'm guessing it was a Commonwealth knife. And he's like, nah, I don't need this piece of crap anyway. I got better knives back at my place when he gets his weapons back. So Mercer and Lance have a discussion, and it's hinted at again that Mercer never had power. These aren't his people, not his soldiers. He has no say whatsoever, and that's going to be the dividing factor until Mercer joins our team. But the fact that Lance is saying, come on, Pam Milton, drop the act. Come on, Pam, drop the act. Let's go. And Pam's not messing around because her son is in danger. That's really the only reason, and I'm sure this has happened time and time again where other people took the fall, kind of the way to do it, and Lance is the person to take the fall for Pamela's son, which is going to be the family for sure. You see that Lance is probably going to stick around and have to be the true villain, because I don't think Pamela Milton is a villain really, right? I think she's just the person in power and has to do the tough things, but Lance is really the villain, right? Who do you think is the true villain here? Lance or Pamela Milton? And do you think Lance survives? Because I don't. Well, Pamela Milton says to Lance, you're not even a player in the game. You never have been. And Lance is like, well, you actually need me because of alliances. Is he talking about the CRM? Which a lot of people hope so. The poppy seed opium people. Fake Stephanie and the bald guy. Or all of the above. Then we see our group talking about what to do. The deal that was made by Carol and the Commonwealth. Well, Pamela Milton. Everyone's on board. They don't know what to do, who's going to stay, who's going to leave. And that's kind of the deciding factor. Like, what are you going to do? Daryl grabs the apple and is like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. And they all have reasons to stay and leave. Well, more on that later. Then they go back to this train station, and Pamela Milton says to the mob that wants Sebastian's head, hey, it's not Sebastian, it's Lance. Thanks to these great people here who stepped in and caught Lance, we're all going to have a trial. We're going to do this. But Lance is the guy, not my son. Take the heat off my son. Again, it's not Sebastian, it's Lance. And I can't help but to notice the red bandana that Lance is biting on, or in Lance's mouth, I should say. But the Commonwealth people aren't stupid. They're like, yeah, right. Which would be realistic. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, I don't believe that, but what can I do, right? But Max is not buying it. Max is like, it worked out. Lance takes the fall. Sebastian's scot-free yet again. And again, red bandana. Can't help but notice it. More on that later. The red theory. Will it trick again? I think so. But the fact that Max is not letting this go is more on in this episode, because Max is tired of it. She's tired of helping this punk right here. Time and time again, Sebastian has got away with it over the years, and it's annoying to get away with, right? Max is not messing around. Daryl gets the weapons. Everybody packs up their stuff, puts it in the cart, and then you see Jerry, Aaron, Elijah, and Lydia go away on the cart, and then we'll see the next episode. But the fact that Aaron has a goodbye with Maggie and Gracie, I don't know. Is Aaron going to die? My thought is that Aaron or Jerry, not both, one of them could die. Maggie waves bye. Is that the last time she sees Aaron? That's sad, right? Everyone is looking back except for Jerry. Is it telling? Not sure. But Lydia and Elijah are together. It's kind of hinted at with the body language. Then we still see that Pamela Milton and Sebastian are not getting along. Pamela Milton says you have to read this at Founders Day, and that's what you got to do. You have to be the person that's going to lead this place. You got to show the people. And, you know, just the fact that Sebastian is putting up a fight is really rubbing us and Max the wrong way, but more on that later. And again, Sebastian dies, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, this is a great sequence that reminds me a lot of Maggie and Glenn. It's the doctor with Annie and Negan. The roles are reversed. The fact that the doctor mentions a complication with the pregnancy, like the high amniotic fluid, definitely foreshadows possibly a problem with the baby or loss of the baby. Also, the red right there, I mean, it's obvious. Like, it didn't have to be red, but again, the red theory. We'll have to see if it comes true. The doctor or Annie die, because Negan's not going to die because he's going to have a show with Maggie, Dead City, that's for sure. But the fact they bring up the point about leaving, they don't need them, they don't need the doctor, they don't need the Commonwealth, they don't need this, is a dividing line, because Negan wants to protect Annie and the baby, and Annie's like, we can do it ourselves. What's going to happen there? Daryl rocking the vest is cool to see, and I do love all the callbacks and the openings to the callbacks, and the Easter egg of Invincible, which is Robert Kirkman's comic, voiced by Stephen Yeun, Glenn. The fact that Judith left and RJ's no rat, or snitch, you know what happens to snitches, is pretty funny. It's Founders Day celebration at the Commonwealth. The fact that Daryl is basically the dad to Judith, and he asks, what would he do? Talking about Rick is pretty cool. We find Judith at the church, and we have the interaction with Daryl and Judith talking about what to do, stay, leave, find someplace safe, find your own space. It's just bonding and a nice thing that we like to see. It's not all action, and when the story is driven here, it's still entertaining. When in doubt, give it to Daryl. He can carry the show, and it's cool to see. This is just the same kind of posture and scene like they were in Alexandria. Then we go to the jail cell, and the fact that Eugene gives a big red gift to Lance is pretty interesting. He has to use his right hand, which was, you know, right on because his left hand was damaged by the knife, and it's a big red candy apple. And the Pike lineup, you know, the red foreshadowing, the red candy apple. And then we see that Max and Eugene aren't getting any information from Lance. Lance is too smart for them. He's like, I figured you guys out. That's it. Father Gabriel was giving his last sermon to an empty church. Rosita comes in to tell them that they're going to get moving or pack stuff up. And a bunch of people made Father Gabriel and Rosita and Baby Coco some food for the road trip, I guess. Do they even make it? Do they make it back to Alexandria? I didn't know what the lettering was there. Please let me know in the comments. Then we see that Rosita is there for Father Gabriel. They're together. I still kind of find it odd that they're together, but it's just nice to see. There's a noise in the back and Judith is there. Then they let Daryl know, and that's when Daryl goes and talks to Judith like we already saw. We see the workers working on Founders Day, and it's a small little moment, but it's a big thing for the episode. We see them talking about the lottery, trying to get a better life for them. They're on the poorer side in the Commonwealth, but then the bald dude and fake Stephanie come in and just shoot them. So Lance is still very much in play, very much in power. And they just kill them and leave them to turn and have the walkers and start the chaos in the Commonwealth. And I'm thinking it's to cause a distraction and free Lance, or to cause chaos to show the Miltons and everybody there that they need Lance to control things, right? But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 different walkers roaming around the Commonwealth when the chaos happens at the wrestling match. But before the wrestling match, we see Sebastian talking with Max. And Max is smart. She sets up this whole thing because Max knows that Sebastian is an idiot, a douche, just terrible. And he's been getting away with it time and time again, like I said, and that's really rubbing Max the wrong way. But Sebastian doesn't want to give a speech, even though he's a free man, which is annoying. It's like, you got off. Why don't you just play the game and just do what you got to do? But Max sets up a tape recorder before she enters the room. Kind of reminds me of Eugene's tape recorder when he used something like that at the sanctuary. And Max has the audio that she's going to use at Founders Day. that Eugene's going to play through the speakers, which will expose Sebastian in all his glory, that he's talking about the rich and the poor and the lottery's rigged, and it's all terrible stuff. So we go to, I guess, the party, the Founders Day celebration, and it's kind of like we saw before with the fair and the party and everything there. Like I said, Eugene sets up the audio equipment. Not sure why he's doing it, but he is. And Eugene is given the recorder from Max, and he plays it during Founders Day. So it's all great. They're going to have the wrestling match that had to be changed from a football game due to COVID. And all I could think of when this guy was talking was, let's get ready to, when he goes that guy, but we can't say that because that's copyrighted. But ultimately we have a chaotic mess because the audio is playing and Sebastian is going to attack Max, and the walkers that were killed by fake Stephanie are causing havoc through the Commonwealth. But this lady comes behind Max and Sebastian decides to throw Max at this walker. She was one of the workers that were killed by fake Stephanie and the bald guy that worked with Lance. And, Sebastian looks on and he's like, haha, yeah, Max is going to get taken out. And I couldn't help but laugh. But if you watch Eugene run, it's not like a run. It's kind of like a scamper or a scurry. It's like, and he runs and basically knocks into the walker that gets knocked into Sebastian, which is great. And during the chaos, Daryl gives Judith the revolver again. That's not hers, it's Rick's, but it's hers. And everyone watches as Sebastian struggles. And no one helps Sebastian, which is great. Because I wouldn't want to help that guy. He's terrible. And this lady bites into Sebastian. And this is the big death of the episode, which is great. It's a satisfying death because Sebastian is terrible. And to be honest, I didn't know if they were going to kill this character off, because in the comics, he lives. Very different character. He actually kills a major character off in the comic. But as we know, the comic is the comic and the show is the show. So the chick bites into his neck twice and Sebastian bleeds out. Not sure why he's got the bloody mouth. Like, it doesn't make sense because she's biting his neck. He wouldn't start bleeding from the mouth. It's just made for effect. But like I said before, Daryl gave Judith the revolver again. And as this chick is biting on the neck skin and muscle and grossness, Judith fires a shot, takes the walker out. And I guess she could have saved Sebastian, but nobody wants that, right? But either way, guys, The Walking Dead is back. Season 11, episode 17 and 18 on AMC+. Plus. On AMC tonight is The Walking Dead, season 11, episode 17. And then Interview with the Vampire, an episode, a pilot show. And then Talking Dead with Greg Nicotero, Norman Reedus, and Yvette Nicole Brown. And of course, hosted by Chris Hardwick. But The Walking Dead is back. And the first two episodes are very good. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. 6 more episodes to go, guys. It's going to end on November 20th. Can't believe it's going to end next month before Thanksgiving. I'm excited, but it's also bittersweet. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. And as always, tell them Daryl.